All agents are currently assisting other customers. Please stay on the line and your call will be answered in order.
It means you still have a chance.
Chance?
To live.
Looks like you don't have much left to offer.
I haven't taught you everything yet.
General, how many more times are we gonna make this circuit?
Time to die.
Carson's not wrong. Sabine and Ahsoka seem lost, and soon we'll be stranded out here. I choose to live.
Ahsoka!
It's okay. I had another guy.
Hooray!
Today's Nerd Fights was brought to you by the super secret Ferogan video game project. Oh, really? This is a real thing. This is actual footage. I don't know why either. And also by these guys, because I guess for some reason they want to support Salty. Those sons of bitch.
Computer end program?
And welcome everybody to Ahsoka Chapter 5 now, The Shadow Warrior. And so before we say anything else, I want to get right into the hot takes so that we don't bury the lead on this one. So I'll start it off because I know that Danny gets mad at me for never going first, so I will go first. I thought that this was absolutely the best Darth Vader story ever told, mixed with the crappiest space whale story ever told. And so I really, really loved everything in this episode until Ahsoka gets out of the world between worlds. And then I wanted to take a nap and stay in that nap until the credits. And so that's pretty much my hot take. So I will leave it at that. Jason.
Dave Filoni is a garbage director. And I went and I looked at all of the creds. He is a
that's
garbage,
the research you were talking about. Okay.
He is a garbage director. If they let him do the movie, no one is ever going to trust him with anything again.
Yeah,
he can write.
They need to get a better director.
He can be a creative director.
Yeah.
He is a garbage director. If you
let him
look
be
up
the
his
executive
credits,
producer and write the story.
You look up his credits. You look up what he's actually directed, not supervising director or some other weird director credit. His shows are not that good. And we've seen that in this season so far. Because, yeah, I'll second what you said. Everything we saw that happened in the world between worlds was freaking awesome. And then we got no explanation. And then, Admiral, there be whales.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of whales, which is cool because I think the Purgle were done really well in this.
They look cool, but they there's nothing to, there's no lore, there's no, I mean, they're so infuriating and yeah. And by the way, before you go, Danny, I got to say something. It's kind of an answer to something you said already without saying it. And that is that, okay, so Danny, this thumbnail was created by Danny for this live stream. We are watching a live action Clone Wars. So the answer to that is no, it wouldn't be better than this show. It would be this show.
No, well, I posed that question because does my mic sound different to you guys? Sounds different.
You're kind of blowing out a bit. You're a little loud to me.
Maybe. I don't know.
Sounds
check your settings in StreamYard.
No, that sounds clean.
Well, you got to speak up and see if it distorts.
Yeah, I just need to. I'll check my settings. But anyways, the reason I asked that question is because while they were in remember now, I only know about the world between worlds because you guys told me about it. Right. I have not been watching the. Hold up. Let's see.
Homework.
Should I have all these options on? I've got echo cancellation checked, reduce mic background noise checked, and automatically adjust mic volume checked.
No, turn off the automatically adjust mic and turn down the mic volume a little bit. And right. John,
how's this? Is this better? Is this better? Right here?
Yeah, that's better. So you're not quite blowing out the eardrums. So let me say this. I think that the 6, because it's only a 6, it would take 2 hours and not 6 to get to the point faster. So it'd be better as far as the show. I disagree. Go back and rewatch Clone Wars. They took their sweet time, and sometimes really at the show's detriment, where they would have episode after episode of Padme arguing about feminism, and then
Well,
there's a lot.
I hate that we didn't really. We got the Attack of the Clones, but we didn't actually get the Clone Wars. Like, I mean, I guess we did in a cartoon, but in the live action, from my point of view,
right.
I didn't get to see any of the Clone Wars.
Right. And that scene with teenage Ahsoka, that was right out of Clone Wars.
And I tell you what, that shit was awesome. Beautiful. That made me want to see. Great. That made me want to see a full live action Clone Wars movie. And so yeah, everything. But if it weren't for you guys, I'd be totally lost. Like there was no explanation whatsoever as to what that place was.
Yeah.
And there still isn't. That's why I did my whole thing with Fry. Just go, hey, I got another guy, and no explanation. She's just back now.
Yeah. So I think they're really taking, like, they're just expecting. If you're watching this, they are taking it for granted, just assuming that we've watched Clone Wars and Rebels. That's the exact. I mean, that's how I feel. They're treating me as a viewer, and I haven't, and I don't want to watch 8 years worth of content or whatever it is, just so I can enjoy this live action. I'm a fan of live action Star Wars. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the cartoons, and eventually, maybe someday, I might watch them. But I shouldn't.
Right.
I don't know. But the stuff in there was pretty, though. I tell you what, every time I saw Hayden Christensen on screen, it was nice. Like
he did an amazing job.
Yeah.
If there's one thing that comes out of this episode is frankly
Anakin Skywalker.
Christian, he punched it out. Like if we were to go back
we
and
needed
watch
from Anakin Skywalker in the movies, and we never got.
Because
George
exactly.
Lucas,
I liked subtle.
You think Dave Filoni is a garbage director? George Lucas is a garbage director.
Oh, I was considering saying that Dave Filoni is George Lucas's spirit brother.
No, because think about it. In 3 movies, in a single, like, it's only about 10 minutes of screen time in one episode of a TV show. We got better character development of Anakin Skywalker than in 3 feature-length films.
True enough.
Well, I want to say something. I've been trying to get out. I don't know if it was decisions made by Hayden Christensen or if they were direction from Filoni, but I really appreciated subtle little details that he did. So, for example, later on in the World Between Worlds scene where he's, which it got confusing because we're clearly seeing like 3 different time periods of Anakin, which fortunately the lightsaber color kind of helped differentiate that.
Right.
But at the last one where he's fighting the teenage Ahsoka and he's got the red lightsaber, just like when he
and his eyes turn
subtle
red.
Choices he made. Well, yeah, when he turns around real slowly, like when he's fighting as like evil Anakin, it's more deliberate, more samurai-like, very slow and kind of stoic. But when they were first fighting, when he had the blue lightsaber, it's that shit right out of that I love, the lightsaber porn from Revenge of the Sith.
Lightsaber dancing.
Yeah. And I thought that was interesting. And the way he would slow down, when he was, dark side Anakin, he'd slow his speaking down, like there were a few things actually, I really enjoy. I just want to cut the little parts with him and Ahsoka out. Just watch that. Just have it on a loop while I do graphic design and shit. Because it was
that.
cool.
You know what?
Hey, King Spell, what's up, dude? I haven't seen you in forever. Wow, welcome to the channel. Anyway,
no idea who that is, but welcome.
He used to watch me when I was on another channel.
Think about this. Like, talk about a missed opportunity. Would be to have Disney Plus have done, instead of starting with an Ahsoka series, you start with a series called The World Between Worlds, and you start it with her losing a fight and ending up there meeting Anakin, and then the entire series is them going through the entirety of the Clone Wars and all these different events and stuff. The
Lucasfilm, are you hearing this? This is gold. This is a great
Right.
idea. They could still do that.
No, they absolutely
That's a
could.
great
And you can bring in Yoda, and you can bring in some of the other Clone Wars characters that we've seen. You just got to be careful about characters like Padme or whatever. Make sure she's on a hologram, but I think that would be absolute gold, especially seeing how Hayden Christensen can act as Anakin with at least a director that seems to have passed his classes with a C. Like Dave Filoni may not be he's never going to be on my list of favorite directors, but he got a decent performance out of Hayden Christensen, and a decent performance out of Hayden Christensen makes Anakin Skywalker an interesting character, which is something we never got in those movies. And that was the thing that sucked about the prequels, is Anakin Skywalker was the most boring character of the prequels.
We got
He's done a
way
lot of
more
great-
Anakin in the cartoons, and unfortunately, again, it's a homework problem, and it's
Right.
Yeah.
there's just too many people that aren't going to watch, 80 hours of homework so they can catch up. It's like,
Yeah.
sorry, bro.
But Hayden Christensen was really good in this episode, and I don't know if we're going to see more of him or not, but it was cool.
I would love to see
your
some
idea.
more of that. I liked seeing the fact, like me and Jason last week were talking about if we were going to see a rematch of Ahsoka versus Anakin. Not only do we get a rematch, we got a rematch at 2 different ages.
Yeah.
And because that teenage Ahsoka versus Anakin is what the original fight was.
So, he said in the scene, I think it was the same scene where they fight, that he's like, I don't recognize this place. And she said that we'd separated by now. Like they were at the Battle of Mandalore or something like that.
Yeah,
That was when-
happened.
That mission happened in Clone Wars. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but it happened, and Anakin wasn't assigned to that particular mission.
Yeah,
That
that was one that I hated, not because I don't like the Mandalorians. I think the Mandalorians are cool,
Yeah.
but here's the plot of that whole arc is Padme sends Ahsoka, who you saw was just a teenager, right? So Padme sends
a little kid.
Ahsoka, to a planet of warriors to save them from the patriarchy. That's not a joke, because they have to dethrone the evil male ruler. So a good
No, that wasn't that one. I think this was the season 7.
I think that's what, because Anakin wasn't there.
No, and he wasn't there in the season 7 either. And remember, season 7 was when we got to see the guys, the Mandos that actually had the Maul spikes on their helmet.
Oh, okay. So maybe it's that. Well, yeah, because
I think
she was there a couple of times. But
Yeah, but I think it was the season 7.
Stan, that's a good point. Someone like myself who has not watched these cartoons, I mean, they really do assume the viewer knows.
they don't even call it the World Between Worlds or anything.
No, they haven't.
Yeah.
They haven't named anything. There's so much explanation missing.
Even though Ahsoka has been there before.
Yeah, she should have said something.
If I'd watched the cartoon, I mean, there could have been a line of dialogue to
Oh,
help people like
well,
me.
just
or
the fact
something.
that Jason heard the lightsabers clashing.
Yeah,
That was an opening in the writing of this episode that they could have said something that kind of.
that means
explains
that Jason may well be able to open the portal.
Well, if he can
Yeah.
hear things going on in there, yeah, I would suggest.
So I would think that if you take Jason at the Henge can probably open the portal, which would be, if they're going to keep it in the other galaxy, that would be their way. That would be their way there.
Yeah.
As far as
for
getting
the rest of them, yeah. Other than Ahsoka. She did the
otherwise, I
Jonah
think
and
what
whale
they're
thing.
going to end up. Here's my current running theory: is they're going to come back with Thrawn, and those beautiful new Republic cruisers are actually going to be Thrawn's dreadnoughts. Because the Republic.
Oh, you think they're as corrupted as?
Yeah,
I was starting to think that.
Yeah.
So
because
when
you notice
is
that
this How long after Return of the Jedi is this?
This is
9 years.
No, this is 4 years. This is 9.
4 years, yeah, 4 years
Nine
after
ABY. So 9
The
years
Senator
after
Organa they're talking about
is Princess Leia.
Yeah.
Leia. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
is 4
she's now
years after
Senator.
Jedi.
Yeah, you would think she'd be the Chancellor or something, but no,
Yeah.
she's a senator.
Or 5 years, something like that.
And what's she the senator of anyway? Because her planet was destroyed.
I know, right?
Maybe
Yeah.
she's the honorary senator of Tatooine or something. I don't know. But
and someone mentioned it before, as far as they're worried that it's going to be a Disney Plus ending where they're not going to wrap it all up in a nice paper bag. No, they're not. They're building. This is one chapter in a series of series that is a lead-in to a movie. And if you don't like that, you might as well bail out now, because that's what it is. Because
it's starting to scare me with the frenetic inconsistency we're seeing right now. I'm starting to get a little spooked.
Yeah, because we're gonna have this. We're gonna have the Mandalorian is gonna be there. Boba Fett's gonna be there, and what's the other one? There was another show that they did announce. It's
the chick one with all the controversy, the Acolyte.
No, that's 100.
No, the Acolyte takes place in the past.
In the past, okay.
And that one may not even ever make it to film.
Yeah, there's not Andor, not Obi-Wan. Those both take place in the past as well. There was another show that we haven't seen yet that they announced that they said was going to be involved, and I can't remember what the main characters were.
Well, if this writers' strike and actors' strike thing doesn't end anytime soon, we're not going to get any of these shows,
Right.
So.
Yeah, so much of this stuff could just fly apart at the seams anyway.
But the thing is that I am enjoying it. And so while it's not the best, it's certainly beautiful to look at. And is it Red Squadron? That's what Stan Lee's saying. Is it Red Squadron?
I'm scrolling through looking for stuff right now.
Positive Candor says it's Skeleton Crew.
Oh,
Dear
yes.
God.
Yeah, that's the one that's going to have like teenagers or something.
Yeah.
Which smells an awful lot like a rip of Prodigy. So
Speaking of smell, this dog is at it again. Jesus.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Somebody's dropping the bombs. The dark side of the Force. The back side of the Force.
The dog is creating the worst kind of bong water.
Oh, by the way, and now I know this is something that Danny, you're going to have no knowledge of. I apologize, but Jason, I'd like your opinion of. This is just something that was bouncing in my head when I was watching some of the interactions with Anakin and Ahsoka in this episode. How about this for a crazy theory of what's coming? Now, Anakin was to be the chosen one to bring balance to the Force, right?
Yes.
He may yet do this, but with Ahsoka. What if Anakin and Ahsoka are to replace the brother and sister as the avatars of the light and dark?
What?
That's why I said you're not going to know.
Yeah, this is like super inside baseball time.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that would be...
And then we could bring in someone like Obi-Wan as the father.
Maybe, but then it kind of diminishes.
Sir poops a lot. He doesn't poop a lot. He farts a lot. But that's
Sir
close.
poops a lot. That would be a good. Yeah.
The chat's trying to come up with a nickname for.
Oh, there we go. Sir Toots a lot. You just got to change one letter.
Yeah. Sir Toots a lot's good. Liam Neeson would be good, John Gill, but he's showing his age too much, and I think Ewan McGregor looks good as Obi-Wan still.
I'm gonna go with it would be neat to see, but I don't know if it's right for the overall story and the lore. I don't know. I don't know.
Kronos, do we ever talk about the music? Not generally, but the music has been really strong.
We did the first episode,
Yeah,
and I
we
do
did a
want to
couple
point out
times
this
for
episode
sure.
had some really good music that reminded me of the John Williams classic,
Right.
like more of the cues. You know, like when there was one where Hera realizes something, and there was like just like a like some kind of musical cue.
Yeah.
Where she like turned her head. So I really am enjoying the music.
Yeah.
That's like the least of
Yeah,
we
that's
probably
the
don't talk about
lowest
it that much,
problem.
Kronos, because
You're right, John
it's
Gill. The
good.
problem is the kind of idea I'm thinking of would be great if they were doing 20 episode seasons and stuff, so they could take some time to explain what the avatars of the Force are there for and all that. But if you consider that the reason, and again, this is stuff that Danny, you're not going to know about, but the reason that the owl was so important to Ahsoka is because the avatar of the light side of the Force used her, basically sacrificed herself to bring Ahsoka back to life once before. And Anakin turned to the dark side of the Force after the avatar of the dark side of the Force tempted Anakin directly. And so it makes sense that that these two would be their replacements, but then they ended up defeating the Avatar of the Dark. So they need a new Avatar of the Light and Dark.
But the problem that I see is that as much as it would kind of work, it leans that much further into the homework requirements.
Oh, I know, but I'm just saying, I think that it makes sense lore-wise. And by the way, Kronos, talking about the ship porn, let me say this. But I know we're going to get to it in a bit, but that shot of the ghost skimming the surface of the ocean was so beautiful.
Yes.
That was as good as any shot of the Millennium Falcon ever.
I don't want to hear a single word uttered from anybody that's criticizing this show on any channel that the SFX don't look good.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You can hate everything else all you want, but the practical and the CG going on in this have been freaking amazing for just a quote-unquote just a show and not a movie.
And Stanley, can't spaceships go underwater? Have you never watched Futurama, Stanley? The Planet Express ship was being pulled underwater. They said that there was, the water outside was creating over 100 atmospheric pressures. And Fry asked the professor, how many atmospheric pressures can the ship withstand? And the professor responded, well, the ship was designed for the rigors of space, so I would say between 1 and 0.
Yeah.
It's not designed to take positive pressure.
Yeah.
And John Gill thinks the whale mouth was the worst CGI I've ever seen in any Star Wars. That looked fakey as hell. Well, really? You're going to say that's the worst CG you've ever seen on any Star Wars?
Yeah.
So I could bring up a clip of Jar Jar Binks, and you're going to say that the whale mouth looked worse.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, John.
Yeah.
No.
Yes, I'm going to say that. Look at it again.
Well, we're going to look at it in a minute here.
Yeah, so we're going to get there.
When we get to it, remind us.
Yeah.
We can talk about.
So here we are at Fangorn Forest.
Yes. Which, by the way, it's so funny because now I will tell you that that little super secret video game project in the opening credits, for those of you that were here for it, is a real thing. It is very early in development, so don't expect anything soon. However, if you happen to be a supporter at supportsalt.com, you might get updates every now and then. But knowing what I now know about the Unreal Engine, this forest was definitely created in the Unreal Engine. I can tell you that with 100% certainty. Like, I could make this forest tomorrow in the Unreal Engine. And so that's just kind of a fun fact. And I already knew that the Unreal Engine was used for almost all of the visual effects, as far as all the CG that you see in the background, the background landscapes, and whenever you see people and CG at the same time, it's almost like that whatever you call the LED wall thing, that technology.
Oh,
that is
the volume.
With the volume, I think is what they call
that
it.
is proprietary Unreal technology, and so
Yeah, that doesn't
that actually
surprise me
worked.
because I got to tell you, Danny, if you really want a moment of absolutely losing your mind at what can be done now, if you go and watch the demo reel for the latest Unreal Engine 5.3,
It's
they're
insane.
going to put everybody out of business for visual effects.
There are
It's
video
freaking
games now
insane.
that look almost as good as the best movies. I mean, granted, they're going to take just as long to produce, but they look incredible.
It's the things that it's crazy. The very latest release that just came out.
Have you seen that Matrix demo of the Unreal Engine for the Unreal 5 engine?
No, that I haven't seen.
It is crazy. It's an actual game that they developed. It's very, very brief. It's a rail shooter. You know what a rail shooter is, right?
Yep.
And so, but it's called Matrix. Oh gosh, somebody help me if you've seen it. But it has Keanu Reeves and Carrie-Anne Moss in it, and it's on the PlayStation. It's on the PlayStation 5. It's also on the Xbox. And
the Matrix Awakens.
Yes, the Matrix Awakens. Yeah. And it starts out. It's kind of funny because it starts out with Neo in this little scene doing typical Matrixy stuff, and then in the mirror is another Neo, and he goes, "I'm Keanu Reeves, and I've played Neo for a long time, and actors are soon going to be changing." And then you see like Carrie-Anne Moss walking in, and then there's like 100 of her, and some of her are old, and some of her are young, and some of her are men, and some, and she's like, what happens when the actor is not just the face? And it's so funny because I was thinking about, you go on strike. That's what you do. So it's actually kind of fun. But then you play the game, and in the game you're in the Matrix, but you're playing. It's funny because it's Carrie-Anne Moss and Keanu Reeves, not Neo and Trinity. Because all of a sudden they're in a car driving down the freeway. He's like, "What's going on, Trin? Or what's going on, Kate?" And she's like, "Oh, well, the producers said that they didn't want us just explaining tech stuff. They wanted us to show people what's the game engine is really capable of."
Yeah.
Okay. So then he gets out and flies away, and then they start shooting at the cop cars and stuff. It's insane.
So back to Star Wars.
Yeah. What do I hear? I hear something.
Oh, sorry. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Oh,
so I checked out. No, I'm watching. I'll pause it. It's like 10, 11 minutes. But the thing you talked, the Matrix Awakens and Unreal Engine 5 experience. I found the video.
Oh yeah. It's crazy. Save it.
Because,
and what's crazy? That's just version 5. 5.3
is more powerful. Yeah.
Insane pile of stuff. Basically, imagine the most amazing CG movie that I know, Danny, you'll know this, that it took them like a whole month or whatever to render everything in its final release edition. Unreal 5.3, that's live on your computer playing it.
Yeah.
And it looks that good. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, exactly.
The opportunities,
the Lumina Nanite are going to change everything, Stan. I'm trying to learn that stuff, but I haven't quite gotten to the Lumina Nanite stuff yet.
Yeah, it's going to upend everything, including storytelling, not just video games. Because like people come, like, well, here's one for you. I know we're going way off the rails here, but dudes and dudettes that got together to try to do Axanar, the fan film for Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't have had to build any sets at all. They
Right.
would have had Axanar done in a year.
Well, they've been purposely stalling.
I got somebody.
No, I
knocking
know
on
at
my
this
door. Give me a
point, but
second.
Yeah, go ahead.
at this point, we know that there's definitely some shenanigans. But functionally speaking, yeah, you could create the ultimate fan anything at this point.
Right.
And yeah. No, it's going to be something else.
Oh, why do you want me to do more than the Martian, Kronos? Did you take my Illudium Q35 space modulator?
Sorry about that.
That's all right. All right. So,
you guys gone like on little side rants. Maybe you can help me out here. So one of the housemates, he wants to like watch TV in his bedroom.
yes.
And I have a Chromecast,
Mhm.
and I also have this Fire Stick. Right now, I haven't used the Fire Stick in forever.
Okay.
I tried to hook the Fire Stick up. I have the remote to it. Okay. But I can't get it. It doesn't turn on, and it's just a micro USB charger.
Yeah.
I don't have necessarily the exact one that came with it, but I have tons of these cords, and I confirmed that the cord that I used on it works with something else.
Yeah.
But I can't get the Fire Stick to come on.
So it has
at all.
the battery. It has a battery that it runs off of.
No. It
No.
runs off of the USB. Sometimes
what do you
it'll
need
work
a
off
charger
the
for?
USB off of the television. So if there's a service port on the TV,
Yeah, I tried it in that one.
It didn't give it enough power.
Right.
have
So
a-
that's when I put it into a cube. Like it
Yeah,
did that instead.
try to use something that has at least a full amp of
Yeah.
output rating.
Because it's
just to
probably
be
the
sure.
batteries. The battery's probably completely dead.
Well, no, there's
Mhm.
no batteries in those things. They're dumb.
I thought that it had a battery in case that it wasn't getting enough power from the USB.
Oh, no. None of those sticks work that way. They all have to have a USB connector.
Well, and then the problem I'm having with the Chromecast is really upsetting me. It says it's not registered or something like that. And I've had this thing forever, but I have several of these, and I haven't used this one in a while. And so I had to download some special app.
You should just be able to fix it using the Google Home app on your Pixel.
Nah, it made me download because in Google Home it said that it could see it, but it said that it wasn't registered, and then it gave me like a little link, like, click here for help. So I did that. Yeah, it made me download the Google Device Utility app, so I could go through it to register it. And when I did that, it still wouldn't work. So it's like,
So
Just
our
trying to
audience
figure
is
it out.
quickly dropping as we're talking about tech support.
oh, okay, sorry.
Okay, so I
But-
did do
so
a
you know.
quick search. The Fire Stick absolutely needs a 1 amp brick. The brick that it
Okay.
came with was a 900 milliamp, so you definitely need to get a 1 amp brick for it.
Okay,
So that's probably
Yeah,
why
I
you're
will.
having the no power on issue.
I'll find that after the show. Thank you very much for that. That's probably
Yes, no
hopefully
problem.
that solves the problem.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Back to the regularly scheduled programming.
All right, so let's talk about Ahsoka. It starts out. Let's see. This is all the previously on. So it turns out they only lost one X-wing out of the. But
That's what
I
it
don't know how that
seems like.
happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when
See, you were right.
So
Last week he didn't have the scar, but I saw the scar this week.
yeah, now the scar's there. So
Mm.
okay, go figure. So we're on the planet of Unreal Tournament, which, I mean, come on. If this doesn't look like a multiplayer arena waiting to happen, I don't know what does.
It'll be in Star Wars Battlefields 3.
Yeah, I'm sure it will.
Yeah.
There's what's left of the map. And so Hera shows up and comes out and starts looking around, trying to see, what's going Hera, unfortunately, is kind of back to her wooden performance.
Yeah. Oh, by the way,
Uh,
out of just random curiosity, I went
Mhm.
looking on Wikipedia and, of course, looked up Mary Elizabeth Winstead's age. She's actually almost exactly the right age for the character.
Really?
Really?
If
Yeah.
she looks too
Okay.
young, maybe
But
you know
yeah,
what?
but the way it's done up, she just looks and feels too young.
Yeah, it's probably too much makeup.
Maybe. But yeah, it turns out she's literally the right age. So busted that theory, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. So John Gill points out he has the scar when his lightsaber's red, and not when it's blue.
Oh. Well,
Okay.
we'll have to watch for
Okay.
that when we're scanning through this.
Because
I
they
did
did
not
like
notice this.
different hairstyles, different things. With
Yeah,
them.
the much
like
seeing
shorter
this
live
hair
action.
is from early on. It's shortly after.
But
the,
yeah, but
the
he
Attack
had
of
the
Clones
scar
movie.
throughout Clone Wars, if I remember correctly.
In the Clone
Didn't
Wars
he?
cartoon. Yeah. For a
The
great
problem is
majority of
that
it,
like
yeah.
in the films, he just didn't have it in episode 2, and then he had it in episode 3,
Correct.
and there was no explanation.
Oh, and we never got one in Clone Wars either. They never
Right.
told us
It's
why.
just like, oh, look, that cool scar.
Well,
on
you
his
did
face.
in the version of Clone Wars that I've seen and that I like because it's only 2 DVDs. And
Oh, you're talking about
Talking
the one
about
that's
the-
got like the
Tartakovsky one,
with the crazy
the
crazy
Guinea
art.
Tartakovsky, the 2D animation.
yeah, the 2D animation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They explain he gets his scar in that. And now I actually love that
I
short
don't remember
series.
the explanation.
I don't think
of
they
that in
even.
that.
Who did he get the scar from? General Grievous.
Gosh, I don't remember. I don't want to misspeak, but because I haven't watched them in a while. But what I loved about it is that cartoon, the last episode, the finale ends right at the beginning of Revenge of the Sith. I mean, like it's seamless. So I like when.
Yeah, that was when they
like
weren't planning on making it into a massive
Rogue One. I just
series.
re-listened to. Do what?
That was before they decided to make it into a massive franchise.
Mm.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I like the animation style. It's kind of like Samurai Jack.
Well, same
style,
guy.
you know. Is it okay? That
Yeah.
makes sense. Okay. Yeah, I don't remember. I want to say I don't remember, but it happened in that.
So let me ask you this: since you looked her up, is she naturally as curvy as Hera is, or is she padded?
No, I think she's pretty curvy because when
Asajj
she was
Ventress.
in oh yeah, I really wish they would find a way to pull her in because she was
Who?
Asajj Ventress.
She was.
That's
Dooku's-
that force wielding crazy lady.
Yeah, she's a
Yeah,
she's
she has
a
two
night-
lightsabers.
She's
Yeah,
a
she
night
was
sister.
Dooku's.
Yeah, I remember her.
Yeah. I really wish they would find because she's still alive. Should be. But yeah, Mary Elizabeth, Danny, you know when I say Chickwick, you know which movie I'm talking about.
Yeah, Kate.
Yeah. She was pretty.
I liked her
curvy
in that movie a lot.
Yeah, she was great in
Yeah.
that movie. But she's pretty
Yeah.
curvy.
Okay, well, just
Yeah.
wondering.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that
Didn't know if they were
Yeah,
doing a
it's
Brie
not
Larson
Dr.
there, and putting
No, it checks out.
inflated pants or something.
Yeah, that is John McClane's daughter from Die Hard 4. I just randomly saw that the other day too, which is funny. It's the one with Justin Long.
So yeah.
Oh yeah.
So since nobody's dead, she figures her 7-year-old
Kevin
kid
Smith is
can
a
come out
hacker.
and play with the droid
Sorry.
because that's what families do. It's a war zone, honey. Come on out. Meanwhile, the droid looked like he was feeling a little suicidal here. I thought he was going to jump.
He definitely looks sad. No, he even says like I told them to stay together,
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I was expecting him to just step forward and end it all, But remember, we all predicted that helmet would make it back somehow.
Well,
And there it is.
there you go. Well, it makes sense. At least they did it in a way that makes sense.
Yeah, at least it didn't like spontaneously show up someplace it should not be.
Right. So when they give her helmet later, which they will, them having it on the Ghost will make perfect sense.
Is Asajj even in the CG version of the Clone Wars? Because she was a badass.
Yeah, she's in it throughout. Yeah,
she is. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, she actually ended up having a fair amount of really big.
Oh, that Jedi, the Sith Witch,
the Sith Witch. Yeah,
yeah.
Well, she was.
Sounds like a snack food. Hey kids,
well,
hungry? Have a Sith Witch.
in the version that I saw, which is a lot more digestible because it's not as many episodes. She was Dooku's. I don't know, whatever the Sith version.
Yeah. And she was in the Clone Wars, the Filoni verse one. Yeah, they kept that.
Yeah, Tartakovsky. That's who did the one I'm talking about.
Yeah,
right. Is that who you said?
Yeah, he's the same guy. He's the same guy that did Samurai Jack and a bunch of other stuff.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, here they are in the world beyond worlds. I mean, the thing is that so it's obviously the world beyond worlds. I mean, if we showed you the picture of her and Ezra in the world beyond worlds, and it looks almost exactly the same.
Yeah. Is it world beyond or between? Which one is it?
Or between? Sorry, world between worlds.
Okay.
And so why doesn't she say, like, Anakin, why are we in the world between worlds?
Something. Yeah. No, Stan, obvious to who? Exactly. That's my point. It's not obvious to me. They had to show me a picture from the cartoon.
And then Anakin can turn around and say, after he says, you lost the fight, he can say, and because this is something that was said in the Clone Wars, the world between worlds bridges the world of the living and the world of the dead. And you are here to cross that bridge.
Yeah. That was why didn't they give us that?
Yeah, and he's clearly a Force Ghost capable projectee dude. So
yeah,
which is established in Return of the Jedi. So yeah, they just had just a throwaway line.
That line would have been enough to at least get a basic understanding of where they were.
Yeah, because if you don't watch the show,
some kind of limbo in between,
explain it. I had no idea where they are. I thought they were in the living. Remember when we first saw this? I thought it was the living force. Where the,
Yeah. Oh no, it's there. It's
And like we were saying, it looks very much like it's possible Jason can access this place, and if that's the truth, then that opens up a whole lot of possibilities. Because anybody that can access the world between worlds can access literally anything in the Star Wars universe.
The kid have that kind of power in the cartoon?
We don't know anything.
He only showed up in the very last episode
because his father, Kanan Jarrus, who died in the cartoons, was an insanely powerful Jedi. He was the guy who he lost his vision because Darth Maul, well, not Darth, but because he says he doesn't like to be called Darth, but Maul betrayed him quickly, blinded him, and then Kanan was blind for the rest of, for all of season 3 and 4, that he was still alive in season 4. And he, because of his time meditating,
but he never lost the fight. He sacrificed himself.
Yeah, because of the time he spent meditating and learning with the Bindu, he basically became outrageously powerful.
Don't worry about who the Bindu are. It's just going to break your brain some more.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, Stan. Like the mycelial network from Discovery.
This is like the mycelial network right here, except that I like this better than the mycelial network because you can't fly ships through it.
Yeah, I'll take this one over the Shroomville any day.
I do find it interesting, and they do a good job with this. Is some good camera work because Rosario Dawson is not that much shorter than Hayden Christensen, but they really make it look like he's towering over her.
I think he's actually pretty tall.
Well, he's tall, but he's not ridiculously tall, I don't think. How tall is Hayden?
No, he's a smidge shorter than me, and I mean just a smidge. So yeah, he's reasonably tall, but I thought he was much taller. I guess it's because they always shot it so he
I'm taller than
extra tall. Yeah, you're definitely taller than him. Yeah.
So how tall is he?
6 even.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, unless she's 5 foot tall or less, there's no way that this shot is accurate.
5'7". Yeah, they're playing games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Darth Vader is known for being tall.
Yeah. So he's like 7 feet tall or some shit like that.
Yeah, it's something ridiculous that the Darth Vader in robot form, so to speak, was made.
Right. And so, and notice when we're taught, I was mentioning when we were talking about the last episode, how whenever a Jedi ignites their saber first, they're in the wrong. She didn't. She waited until Anakin came after her before she ignited. That's the way.
Yeah, I want to say
Jedi...
all of their fights, she did that. And all three.
She did it the right way throughout this episode, and that's why she came out of this episode on top.
Yeah. Yeah, Vader.
Man, speaking of coming out on top, have you seen Rosario Dawson and Alexander?
Dude, really? Really?
I have not, but
no, it's definitely worth checking out.
Big Bad Darth Vader is a full 2 meters, 6'8".
Right.
So yeah, he's
so they say that the helmet and the boots add 8 inches. Huh?
Well, and also the fact that he would have been given legs that were longer to make it more intimidating, and because
I mean that's
robot parts.
Yeah, his legs were cut off.
Go to town.
Does that mean when they put the implant in my back, I'll get taller?
Cyborg.
No, and I know when I have my neck fusion next year, I will shrink another inch, so that'll be nice.
So yeah, now you were about to say something, I'm assuming, about the way they're fighting. Jason, were you?
Me? No.
Is that,
no.
Or was I misunderstood? Okay. Because I want to say I love the style of choreography here. I think that they do
this is some
really
of the best
job
lightsaber fighting in a long time.
Oh yeah, it really is. Yeah,
and even when we get to the actress that did the young Ahsoka, they did a terrific.
Oh, I love that stuff. Yeah. John Gill, the guy that played Chewbacca was huge. But that's because Wookiees are supposed to be
Peter Mayhew.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, he was like 7'4" or something like that.
Yeah. But yeah, so David Prowse is tall, but Peter Mayhew is gigantor. Meanwhile, back in the real world, she's walking around with her little scanning box while the kid is actually just hearing them in the waves.
That looks suspiciously like the.
I'm just looking at
that Solo used on Hoth.
I think it's the same prop, or at least it's a replica of it. Yeah, what he was using on Hoth to try and talk to Luke. The one thing that I thought was interesting was that I'll try to catch it later, but if you look at an overhead shot of the henge, looks a lot like the portal from that Ezra opened. A lot. Really? Yes, you'll see it. I'll show you later, but yes.
Okay.
Is this the same kind of place where Baby Grogu went to super channel the Force or whatever? And
no, this
in
place is a
Mandalorian?
witch thing,
Okay.
not a Force thing.
Right. Yeah, where Baby Grogu went was a Jedi thing. This is a general Force thing.
No, but this temple thing, this henge, this is witches. This is all witchcraft.
So I like that they're showing his Force sensitivity. But of course, what Ahsoka should say is, nope, he's too old to start the training, because apparently everybody is too old in Star Wars unless they're a fetus when they start training.
Yeah.
I makes no sense.
Yet Anakin says to Ahsoka, "You're never, never too old to complete your training," or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's apparently the lore behind the scenes on it is supposed to be that the Jedi Council made a decision to go as young as possible so as to, there was something, oh man, I only caught it just like a couple odd days
Well, I think
ago.
it's to avoid people from, developing independent thought on,
No, I think it's like an attachments thing or something. It had something to do with along those lines.
Right.
So they take them when they're basically infants or whatnot. But
And what's the name of this X-wing pilot? I keep forgetting.
Mm-hmm.
You remember?
That's an excellent question.
I mean, he's
Carson
he's-
Teva.
So I like Carson. Don't get me wrong. I do like him. But you get the feeling that he is just a stand-in for Zeb because they couldn't afford him. They couldn't afford
I'm
the
starting
visual.
to feel that at this point. Yeah.
Because everything he says sounds like something Zeb would say.
Yes.
And so I'm thinking his part was written for Zeb, but then they said, budget, you ain't getting an animated character.
Yeah.
And so he's like, crap. All right. Well, Carson, you're up.
Which sucks. If
Wasn't
that's what
he in
happened,
something
that
else
sucks.
though? He was in some.
Yeah,
He was in The Mandalorian.
He's been in The Mandalorian a bunch.
No. The guy you're talking about.
Yeah,
he
Zeb
was in that one episode
shot
in
of
Mando
The
season
Mandalorian.
3.
Yeah. But he was just like
Okay.
in one shot where you see him in a bar,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he
And
was
so-
on. Remember when we kept saying "Back to Vietnam"
Yeah.
in,
That
in
little
Mandalorian
extra-
season 3? They kept going back to that planet that looked like the beaches of Nam.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in that. He's in a scene right there.
Meanwhile, Anakin and Ahsoka are still duking it out. And one thing I really like about this particular part of the fight is that if you pay attention to it, Anakin is fighting with the same style he fights Obi-Wan with.
Yeah, and
yeah.
I loved it when he did that crazy super spin embellishment.
I love that shit,
Yeah.
man. I'm
Yeah.
a sucker for that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
And no, Stanley, and it's not Tron. Stop saying it's Tron.
And even
Not
if it
everything
is,
that has
Tron
glowy
belongs to Star or to Disney anyway, so
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so even if it was
you can't
Tron, it
steal
wouldn't
from
be-
yourself.
Yeah. And yes, he was in Mando season 1 as well. That's
Yeah, he was in their Aliens episode, the episode that was
Yeah.
very much like Aliens. So.
But yeah, he's been in a bunch of the Mandalorian, and so I think he's the glue that holds Star Wars together. Is going to be Carson. So then he's like, I beat you by breaking the. You didn't know this whole thing.
Oh, she
was
got
made out
all
of glass.
lippy with him.
Yeah.
She got all lippy with him, so he had to oh, okay.
Yeah.
And
But
this is where
this
I
was a
like-
cool transition,
yeah.
though.
Well, and I was like, holy
I
crap.
want to see
Now,
this. I want to see a
yeah,
live
even
action
here in
Clone
the
Wars. That's what
fog,
I want to see.
This looks exactly like Ahsoka from the cartoon. I was like,
almost exactly. They had to.
well,
be
no,
careful
I'm
because-
saying one in the fog, in right here in this.
Oh yeah,
shot.
right here. Yeah, it's a deadpan. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I was like, holy crap, we're looking at the Clone Wars.
Yeah. And by the way, This is the first time we are actually seeing Gen 1 clone soldiers in their armor in the
Yes.
real.
Yeah. By the way,
Because
they're
Twinkle
all
Toes
CG.
liked it.
CG in
Yeah, she doesn't like that you're using the term lippy.
Duly noted.
Yeah, just saying, you know, your Canadian hostilities are breaking out again.
Oh,
Oh
yeah, there was I forgot to put it on today's. Usually, I go to Discord and I share our stuff on a bunch of Discord channels. I didn't do that today, so that
Right.
might be why Ariel's not
no,
here.
And no Twitters today either.
I did the Twitter late, and I saw Anthony did a tweet for me, and then I was like, oh shoot, I guess I should do one. So then I did one.
Yeah, well, I'll retweet it, even though it's an hour later. More people later is still more people.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's the funny thing is that even like I'm like sitting here going, this is so cool, and in fact, this is
look at like, okay, you notice like her whatever this
it's jewelry.
thing is.
Yeah.
Is it
that
okay?
That is
because she has
on.
a different one. Is it okay? Yeah, she has a different one later.
This is as she goes through.
But doesn't have
age.
one at all as an adult. Okay.
Well, she goes through
No,
as
she
she
does.
changes
But
age, and then even as and then when she leaves the Jedi, because she gets rid of the little dangly bits. Because you notice how Padawans always have like a braid or something. Like remember how Anakin had that little whatever rat tail braid over his shoulder? It's the same idea.
Braid. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same idea. It's just obviously she has no hair, so that gets to sub in for it. But either way, they always wear head jewelry of some kind or another, and then eventually when she leaves the order, she changes to more of a band. And like Mike was saying, you see the change throughout this. Every one of those are actually exactly specific to what we saw in the cartoons too.
Okay.
So it's really like they've done a really good job maintaining stuff. Like I said before, stop letting him direct, but let him chase all the fine details, because he makes stuff stick, but he just can't be a
Kronos likes little dangly bits.
Does he?
But you know, my only major beef with little Ahsoka here is she wasn't annoying enough. and don't get me wrong, I don't want her to be annoying, but at the same time, Ahsoka at this age, I was ready to quit watching the show. I hated her.
No, but remember, this is still old Ahsoka in little Ahsoka's body.
Yeah, but come on.
No, it's the same people at a different age. But Danny, Ahsoka was deliberately written as the most abrasive character you could possibly imagine for first season of Clone Wars. And it was all done so that she could have a proper character arc. So, no, this was. Yeah, I mean, this really was cool. And I love the fact that they kept the fog up so that you realized that you were still not in the real, but you were off. You were seeing things.
So John's mad because I guess he's having some internet problems. Well, John, internet problems do suck.
They do.
So I'm sorry, Kronos. I will not attempt humor anymore.
John bummed they didn't digitally increase the size of her eyes. That's funny.
Oh.
I think they did fine. I think she was good enough as far as the casting is concerned. Like when she lit up the green lightsaber after him, I was like, yeah, that's so cool. Because she had a green lightsaber.
So I wanted to ask about that. Okay.
Yeah, that's what she looked like in Clone Wars.
I like seeing a live action version of his Clone Wars armor.
Oh yeah, his cool. Clone Wars armor is awesome. They did a great job nailing that. Let me find a quick picture here of him from Clone Wars, the cartoon, just so you could see the side by side.
But like, yeah, this whole scene could have been right out of a Clone Wars episode, except for the fact that Ahsoka's like, wait a minute, are we really here? What the heck? Are you done yet?
Oh no, you guys can keep. We can keep
I'm waiting
going.
on you
I'll
since you.
No, keep going.
Well, I
because
thought you wanted
it's
me
gonna
to
take-
have a picture of Anakin and his armor up before we.
It could take.
All
a
right,
hot
let's
minute to find
see.
a good
So,
picture, so just keep going.
so then we see the aftermath of the battle and Ahsoka talking about the incredible heavy losses that they were taking.
And these are all the
um,
Jango Fett clones, right?
yes,
Yeah.
but over the course of Clone Wars, particularly a clone named Rex, they all became very close with. And Rex,
Yeah, 'cause
by the
I'm
way, is
just,
still alive in the Rebels era as an old man.
Was there some kind of significance? Do you know if this was a particular, like, why is she mourning this guy? Or
This guy, no other reason than a victim of the battle.
Yeah.
Rex continues to.
She was
live
more
on.
empathetic than Anakin.
Yeah, see, technically,
sees-
we could see Rex in this series that we're in right now if they wanted to.
Yeah, I would love to
So-
see them bring, because I mean they could get him, to play him. I mean,
See, there he is in his armor.
he's
from the
doing
cartoon.
he's doing Boba Fett, so hey,
Yeah. So
all they got to
the
do is
big,
put a
heavy
beard on him.
chest piece. Yeah, you must be way behind or something, Mike,
Why?
because your responses are really delayed today.
No, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Well,
you know what? Maybe it's because he did not have his fuel up today.
Oh,
Have you not
that's
had your
very
fuel up
true.
today, Mike?
no, I haven't. That's probably the problem.
No, that's
Might need to-
probably the
We
problem.
might need to
I don't
do
have my
that.
little props with me, but
You never
If
have
you,
the props ready when you start the segue, but you don't have the prop. I was just
well,
just about
it wasn't a planned segue. It just seemed like a perfect fit.
I was
'cause
just
you
about
know,
to go
did.
full screen on your window, and you don't have
Yeah.
your prop.
I don't. But if you follow
Alright,
the
get
link in the
fuel up.
description, fuelup.gg/nerdfights. Excuse me. Oh, you okay? I guess I can pull it up, and then we can
I
share
was
that. How about that?
going for it? I thought I had it set aside here, but I guess I
There
don't.
we go.
Oh, here we go.
Share my
Who's gonna win?
screen.
Oh,
Boom.
it sounds
All
like
right.
Danny.
So here
wins.
we go. Look at this. Nerd Fights. Only $1.75 per serving. You get a free shaker bottle and a money back guarantee. I'm curious to see if they're still out of stock on my favorite one. Hold up. Go back. Go back. Product details. Here we go. It's still out of stock.
Man,
It's good stuff, man. I don't know. You still haven't got yours though, right? Haven't heard
No.
back from her.
not a thing. No.
Well, yeah. So when you go to fuelup.gg/nerdfights, or if you use promo code nerdfights at checkout, if you just go to the regular website, you help support the show and you get free shipping, a free shaker bottle, and a money back guarantee. So that is fuelup.gg/nerdfights.
And no, Kronos, you do not snort it or smoke it. You drink it.
You drink it. You mix it with water,
It's like crack, but you drink it.
but you drink it.
I think that's their official company slogan. F you. It's like crack, but you drink it. So, all right. So yeah, I think she's just more empathetic than most of the Jedi. And that was part of her frustration with the Jedi, is that the Jedi were very cold and heartless with the way they did things.
Yeah.
And she didn't want to be. And notice we have a few of the classic Jedi Masters. They're just shrouded enough so that we can't really see who they are.
Yeah.
Right.
But that is Captain Rex that's standing beside them.
That is.
Yeah, that's got to be
with
Captain
the back turned
right
to
there.
them. Yeah, that's Rex. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. I mean, they're all clones, so they would look exactly the same underneath the helmet. But Rex
Yeah.
is
But the
character.
I mean, doesn't he-
embellishments on the armor?
Doesn't he turn on him with Order 66 like all the others? Or no?
Yes, he does, but that's an enormously powerful emotional thing from that. Remember, I said I was going to put together the supercut of the end of
Yeah.
Clone Wars.
Yeah.
You see that whole incident, and yeah, it's pretty.
They
Even without
there's
watching any of the previous stuff, it is just done so well. It hits here right in the feels.
Rex and a couple of his friends who kind of realized what Order 66 was.
Yeah.
And so most of the clones, they just do, they're clones. They just do what they're told. But Rex and a couple of his friends were like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we did this. And, and so we're out.
Well, one of the
Isn't that
one
what
of
the Bad
clone-
Batch is?
Well, the
No.
Bad Batch is even more desensitized to the effect. So they were able to, they were like, what Order 66? Nothing happened for them. They're like, what? One of them was a little bit more affected by it than the rest of them, but that's...
Oh, yeah, he went crazy.
Yeah, you'd have to get into the weeds on that. But anyway, in the Clone Wars, there was a trooper named Fives because his CT number was 5555. And it was either Fives or his friend. And the chip malfunctioned. The biochip malfunctioned in the middle of a battle, and he all of a sudden started trying to kill the Jedi. So they sent him back to Kamino, and that's when they started fleshing out the whole Order 66.
So yeah, his Order 66 got activated early by mistake.
Yeah.
And so Rex and his crew kind of got wind of that there were these chips in them that was going to make them turn traitor.
Yeah. Yeah, there was like just a few little things here and there. Not enough to actually let them all know for sure, but then when you get to the end of season 7, it really all comes together. It's really good. So
Twinkle Teacher says if you squint your eyes, she looks like a furry.
Oh,
Alrighty.
That's well, if you like furries, there's a guy named Deej, and he's just a straight up furry. So you could subscribe to his channel and watch him dress in various furry suits. I do like the way they cover the clone's face so that they don't have to, de-age Tamora.
Well, that was what Matthew's theory was. Either they couldn't pay for it or they didn't want to have to do the de-age.
Well, I figured they didn't want to do the de-age because they've got Tamora. I mean, he's working on Boba Fett.
Yeah. Oh,
so.
he's all in. Like he loves doing the character.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't think he'd have a problem doing it. But that's why I'd like to see him play Rex. Because I'd like to see him play a good character. Because Boba Fett is a crappy character.
Yeah, I would. It would be really, really cool if they had him show up as Rex.
Yeah. Over on my channel, I don't know if you saw Twinkle's aerial impersonation. I thought that was cute. I just noticed that. I'm guessing.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
The Rico Suave Mama Like. It was for my segue for Fuel Up. I'm guessing. Let me know.
Oh, okay.
Right about that, Twinkle.
Yeah, I keep all the stream comments separate and up on the screen at the same time, so I see it all flying by.
So they have more talks. Now, this is like one of the most ominous shots I've ever seen in all of Star Wars.
Oh, him walking off?
Yeah, him walking off, and the lightning turns him into Vader.
There's another one.
Right there.
Yeah, look at that. Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah.
And then later in the final fight,
not lightning, but the explosions around him.
Yeah. The final
fight.
fight
It happens again in the world between worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah. but that was just like, holy crap. That was awesome. I wanted more of that. I really wanted to see Vader.
See, Kronos,
in the Vader.
That's why you tune in. Kronos said he didn't notice that when he watched the episode. That's why you tune into our show, buddy.
Really, you didn't notice that? Oh man, that was my favorite part right there. That's why she was freaking out watching him. And then he turns right back to Anakin.
Yeah. And Stanley, to answer your question about my aftermath of the one chip challenge, it was funny because not that people really want to know this, but I was a little bit afraid that going to the bathroom the next day was going to hurt, but it didn't. The first time when I went to the bathroom again about 8 hours later, however, I almost wanted to call the doctor to see if I had an STD, because not only did the poop burn, my piss burned, and it was like, so yes, there you go. Hey, and you lucky SOB, she's giving you the super tip.
Yes, and there's Eartha Kitt
sticker.
I'm chopped
all of her.
It's a little puppy
Thank you.
dog shaking his cheeks.
Oh, furry, I guess, or whatever. Anyway.
Yeah,
Oh,
so it's
by
funny
the
we're talking
way-
about furries, and then we get Eartha Kitt up there as Catwoman.
Something was bugging me, and I went looking.
Oh, wait
The
a minute.
actress that does
I got one from Twinkle as well. Now I feel like a jerk because I don't have my
Nice.
notification. You got to teach me how to do the little notification.
Oh yeah,
thing
the
that you have.
overlay notification.
So thank
yeah.
you.
The
Yeah. So
the
thank
actress
you,
that does young
Twinkle.
Ahsoka.
She's sharing the love between us both.
There you go. She played young Gamora in the Infinity War.
Oh,
saga.
really? That's
Oh,
funny.
Yeah.
Okay,
So she just plays young
Yeah, no, I
action
recognize now
heroes.
that you say it, I recognize it.
Yeah, like I mean,
Oh.
obviously a good number of years apart at this point, but
And yeah.
it just stood
Yeah.
out to me, so I went looking.
So, Darren, I don't think the show is garbage. I've been enjoying the show. Oh, that's funny. So you reposted the comment since we didn't answer you right away. You're so impatient, Darren. But no, I don't think because I highlighted the first time he posted that.
Yeah, he posted
I
it
see.
in
Okay.
Salties and then into yours.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I don't think the show's bad. I don't think it's the greatest thing ever, but I think it's good Star Wars.
There's a lot to like, but
Especially if you've seen the animated shows.
Yes.
Yeah, see,
but as
that's
a
an important caveat. though.
as a
Like,
cohesive story,
someone
that
like
makes
me-
sense.
It's
Yeah.
not been doing it for me. I like bits and pieces of this, and I realized I was on the wrong stream.
When he posted it in yours.
Oh no! He's talking about your stream.
Well, no, because he said he
Yeah.
posted it in Danny's and
Oh,
then
did he
mine.
first?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, that's right. Danny's first, then to
Yeah.
yours. Okay,
Yeah.
I see in the timeline. Yeah.
Well, wrong stream just because there's less people in mine than there are in
I say
yours.
either way, it's
know.
shots fired.
But
But yeah, for folks like yourself, Danny,
participation in the hot chip challenge is okay, John.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's,
I
that's
actually
your
did.
opinion, man.
I actually did warn him that the chip he was about to eat was hotter than pepper spray.
Well, it wasn't that bad though. I think I handled it pretty well. I mean,
Yeah.
my buddy
Sure.
JD
Well, you
couldn't
want another
believe
one?
it. He
Do
thought
you want to
for
have
sure.
a bowl of them with some salsa? Maybe melt some cheese on them.
Now, if those were jalapenos, that would be terrific, actually.
Well, jalapenos aren't that hot.
Mhm.
Yeah, because I don't want to die.
Yeah, they've been taking them off the shelves. We talked about this before.
Yeah,
Anyway.
they're
Yeah,
banned from
you can't
sale
buy
for
them
the
now.
time being. So, but yeah, I mean this show is it really is a hit and miss. It's
Yeah, I mean,
probably
For someone like
probably
me
the best.
who hasn't seen the cartoons that this is a direct continuation of,
Yeah,
I'm lost a lot. So I appreciate doing this show just because you guys can fill me in on stuff. And it's not very hey man, somebody asked, so that's why I answered. It's very disconnected, it feels like to me, but I only like I was saying, bits and pieces of it. I can't say what you said, Salty. You said that you felt this was good Star Wars. It's got good Star Wars moments. Like all this world between worlds stuff is awesome. Every time I see that dude Balin in a lightsaber duel, that's awesome.
Right.
But when we leave the world between worlds and we have this weird,
What did I say that my hot take, dude? I said I hated it once she
yeah.
leaves the world between worlds.
Yeah.
I mean that's
I
my
did
problem.
like. We had a lot. Like this episode was twice as long as the previous two. About
Yeah,
so that
we
was
got
nice.
one good episode, one crap episode smashed together into a single episode.
Yeah,
I guess so.
It's hard on the brain because, like I say, it's inconsistent. And actually, believe it or not, at this point, I'm willing to slag it with the same criticism as Andor. There are some, I won't say a lot, there are some people that really, really love Andor, but Andor is a snore fest because it's not edited together very well. And this,
Yeah, I remember
Andor
we covered
the
that
lore
with the
of
Salty
Empire.
Nerds, didn't we?
yeah,
I know I
yeah.
did.
Kadish absolutely loves the show, but it's like it's a 3-hour movie turned
You know,
into an 8-hour movie.
I'm sorry, but I still have to say the people that love the show start talking about how great it is for the lore of Star Wars when it really completely butchers the lore of Star Wars because it turns the rebels into terrorists.
Oh, I don't even
The
care about that part.
so
I do though. I
no,
really
but just looking at it as an individual piece of work, my problem
Right.
is way more that the pacing is just broken.
Yeah, I agree the pacing is broken, but I'm just saying that. But people that say, "Oh, but the lore stuff is so good," no, the lore stuff is the worst thing about it, in my opinion.
Yeah, Andor. So it's kind of funny. I accidentally stumbled across my.
Here's that shot.
When I was
Hold
at-
on.
when
Can
I
we
was-
all pause for just a moment?
Okay.
Oh
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
That's
don't get a
that's
copyright
beautiful
claim
shot.
now. So what I was going to say was
that shot right
ear-
there.
Yeah, earlier today, I stumbled across the Star Wars Rogue One review that I was a part of 3 years ago with Salty Nerds. I guess they when they first came onto YouTube, they were just uploading the audio, because when Salty Nerds started out, it was just it was only a podcast. It was just audio only. And I didn't know that they had uploaded them to YouTube. So it was kind of fun listening to, Danny in the past, before the dark days, talking about how much we loved Rogue One. And I actually think the Andor series makes, there's an argument that could be made that Andor kind of makes Rogue One worse. But I liked Rogue One a lot. So
Yeah, they should have. Yeah, they should
I
have.
said
just
it
left
then,
it
and I'll say it
alone.
again. Yeah, they should have. Rogue One actually makes A New Hope better. It really does. And I'll never change my opinion on that because, you got a way better understanding now of why Darth Vader is so pissed off at the beginning of that.
Yeah,
He knows Princess Leia's line.
My hot take description on that movie is it's the best first act to A New Hope that we never got.
Yeah. But anyway, back to Ahsoka.
Yeah.
All right, so we get the most beautiful piece of ship porn, and yes, Darren, this is an ugly ship, but like you talk about, you like ugly ships where you can see what they're like the like what you were talking about they're utilitarian. You can see that that they're functional. This is a very functional ship when you learn more about it. For example, and I don't know if you know anything about the Ghost, but this tail that you see sticking up in the back is actually the shuttle that sticks out of the back of the ship. So you climb into it from inside the ship, and then it ejects out the back.
Yeah, and that's the small ship
so-
that we saw Hera flying in
Yeah.
episode.
And that
Okay.
only applies to Star Trek. Yeah, well,
Oh.
whatever. Then.
Genre specific criticism. Excellent.
Hypocrisy at its best. All right, so the Hera and the Tin Man are flying around with the X-wing searching, and they're worried that they're going to run out of gas because they've seen The Last Jedi as well. Oh yeah, there's another good
Yeah,
shot,
there's
right?
one of the Maulerites. Yeah.
That's, right there. Look at that. Oh, I just love that.
Yeah.
You can just really feel the weight of that ship. So now we've obviously fast forwarded. She's got white lightsabers and she's got 2 of them. Or are they blue? It's hard to tell. What do you think? And those, no,
They're more
what do you think?
blue.
Those,
Yeah, like the white ones
They're
that she has now
no,
as an adult. Maybe?
they're,
I don't know.
they're
yeah, I think you're right. I think those are
precursors
the
to
blue
it.
ones.
Yeah, she
Yeah,
had
because she
two
had
blue.
she had
Are they-
twin
see, I-
blue
Again,
sabers.
I'm the wrong guy to ask.
Right.
those
She
kind of
did have
questions, I guess.
2 blue sabers for a while before she had 2 white sabers.
Yeah.
So we saw her the green
So she
saber. Now
started
she
out
got
with
the 2
one.
blue.
So she starts with one green saber, and then she ends up doing the double wield thing, or was
Yeah.
she always? Did she
No,
always have 2?
she added a
lightsabers?
second one and she went to 2. And then when we got to when we got into the Star Wars Rebels era, by that point she had been continuing to modify her sabers, which is where they look more like what they do today in the live action, with that very sleek, curved,
It's kind of like a subtle
Right.
curve, not as big as
polished.
Dooku's.
Yeah,
but yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but I think that's interesting. So that they're trying to make it so that we're seeing her from all the different versions of her. And I think that's pretty cool. And and again, look at it. She's doing the standard Ahsoka
Yep.
pose.
Yeah.
You got it. You got
Who
to
was it? I
fold the arms.
I think I
Someone was
mentioned this last
complaining that
week.
Rosario Dawson folds her arms too much, but that is Ahsoka.
Well, they said he should make a
Yeah,
drinking
like
game out of it. I can't remember who it was.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because she just does. If you go through the cartoons,
you would
you'd
end up
never
dead.
survive.
You-
No one
Yeah.
survives.
Yeah, if you did it like for the Clone Wars, like every time Ahsoka folds her arms, take a drink, you would not survive a single episode of Clone Wars.
This
Um,
little girl did some really awesome. I don't know if it already happened and we just skipped over it, or if it's about to happen. But
She hasn't
does some
fought
pretty
anything.
cool lightsaber.
Yeah, she's
No. I
gonna
mean, like
here in a
when she's killing,
Oh yeah, well, she
Mandalorians
was
and
just
stuff.
she was just killing the Mandalorians, and she was kicking
Because
some
this is
butt.
where he says he doesn't recognize this.
these
spy
guys
or
here.
whatever. Yeah.
And she does do a great job with it. Like we give her just this, and of course, let's see if we can get.
Yeah.
She definitely
That
moves like a
pretty
Jedi.
cool. That looked cool. Yeah, that looked cool, man. See, I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff. Give me more of that. I would love to see a live action version of the Clone Wars.
They can
Search
do it.
says those are mauled Alorians.
Mauled DeLoreans. Yeah, that's what they called them.
Is that really what they called them?
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was just making a pun.
No,
The
no, that
spikes.
is actually what they called them. Yeah.
I don't remember the episode that Ahsoka.
All right, now
switched
this is what I was talking about. If you can go
Yeah.
back just like a smidge before he flares up the saber, he does like when he goes from light side to dark side, Anakin with her.
Yeah.
notice how like his movements are much slower, more deliberate.
Oh yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
that very like long sweeping kind of.
Yeah.
Right. It's
And I don't know
slower,
if
but
they
more
have already
powerful.
or not, but his eyes are going to change if they haven't already, like they did in the Revenge of the
Right.
Sith.
They turn red
Yeah.
when he's full on dark side.
That's a good question, Kronos. Force running and force jumping. Why not? We don't really see enough of that, in my opinion. You know.
No, we see jumping more than running, but it's
Because
definitely
they
something
look
they should
stupid.
do.
Yeah.
I know. It looks like
But
when they did the running in Civil War, at the start of Civil War, and everyone was running faster than the cars. Sebastian Stan and Chris Evans were gun booting it down the road. It just
yeah.
But yeah, this whole fight, I mean, it's so funny because I was like, wait a minute. So you're telling me that Hayden Christensen's Anakin Skywalker is about to beat the crap out of some little like 16-year-old girl. This is just wrong. And she holds her own pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Well, and there's a really great Star Wars short story that actually goes back and retcons in why she became so insanely good with her sabers too.
Oh yeah, you're talking about in that short.
Yeah, where Anakin actually went out of his way to make sure she was as well trained as she could possibly be, defending against effectively an infinite number of enemies.
But yeah, just his stance right there.
Right
you see
there,
how his stance is?
Yeah.
His fight stance is completely
but that
different.
Looks like that looks like it should be so unfair that he should just squash her like a bug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she is actually far better than we give her credit for, because like in the cartoon, she's much more agile. She's fast. She's agile, and
well, you're talking about a 16-year-old versus like a 40-year-old or however old Rosario is now.
Right, but he wasn't 40 back then. Remember, this is Anakin during Clone War.
Yes. No, this is Revenge of the Sith version of Anakin because he's got the scar. Yeah.
Right. So this is like at the most 25 to 30-year-old Anakin. So he's not that old.
Right. Yeah. Whoa. Search just said they showed his tower from Mustafar in this scene.
Not that I know.
I did not catch that.
I didn't see that. See, I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch this part.
No. I do like this though, where he literally kicks her into another dimension.
Yeah.
Where he's like,
yeah, right here.
Bam. See you later.
Boom.
You know you've been punched when you got sent into another dimension.
Yeah, this is the part when he starts walking. It switches from Anakin to Darth Vader. Anakin to Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's got the long hair.
That's why I put that into the music video, because it just looks so intense. When he's just look at the way he's just like, I am coming to kill you now. And there is nothing you can do to stop me. And I love the fact that he doesn't slow down. He doesn't it's not one of those, I'm going to stop and give a monologue now about why you're weak or something like that. No, he just walks up. I am going to kill you now.
Yeah. He just comes right onto her. It really is.
Yeah.
It really is some of the best lightsaber fighting we've seen in a long time. It's probably the best lightsaber fighting in all of the Disney Star Wars.
The only thing that really even compares
stuff,
is the Balin fight from the last episode.
Yeah,
and
the
only reason I think this comes in ahead of the Balin fight is because the Balin fight was so short.
Yeah,
in comparison. But I think we're going to get an epic Balin fight later on this season. Obviously Grand Admiral Thrawn is not going down, but Balin probably will. And that fight, I hope, will be the epic fight of epicness.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I tell you what, man, because I was really into Revenge of the Sith. You know, we went to Star Wars Celebration 3, my ex-wife and my oldest son. This was before my youngest kids were born. And you got to meet a lot of these guys and watched a lot of the training that he and Ewan McGregor went through was insane.
Yeah.
I bet you this was like muscle memory for him. Like he probably had a lot of fun doing.
Oh,
this.
like when he did the spinning move, that was just like, I can't.
Yeah.
I'm doing that in front of my kids every day, you know?
Right.
ever since Revenge of the Sith, I can't stop doing that. But to answer your question, not this one, but this one here. Does your physical body go to this realm? Absolutely. At least if they're following the lore from Rebels, because when Ezra went there, he actually goes physically through a portal to this realm.
Yeah. And
He
physically pulls
he leaves
Ahsoka
our realm
through...
and goes here.
See, Famous Bear, that's kind of the questions I was asking last week. And my understanding is no, that's the living force, right? That's where I thought this was.
Right. Yeah. This is not them being force ghosts. That's a little different. And so if she, fails here, she might end up a force ghost. But
am I delayed?
There's been little minor hiccups on my end. And I don't know if it's on just my end or what, but I've just been no selling it.
Okay. It's easier to just blame Jason because he's Canadian.
Perfect.
He's also the IT guy in the group.
Oh yeah, so we got big shoulders. We'll take it all.
Yeah. But I would assume if one dies here, they die in the real world as well, right?
That is my assumption. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But we haven't seen anything to say yes or no on that. So,
okay.
Yes, well, here's the thing about watching the animation shows. Did I enjoy the shows themselves? Not as much as I would have if the animation was good. However, I'm fully recognize the stories are great. I just wish the animation was good. I hate that style of animation. Like if you were to remake, except for the stupid feminist episodes, if you were to remake Clone Wars and Rebels as a live action series somehow, right now I would say do it.
And stick and stick as close to the original material.
Yeah, I mean, after watching just the little parts from the Clone Wars in this episode, that's why I made that. Like, I would love to see a live action Clone Wars. I'll watch that. You know what I mean? If they came out with that, I'd watch it. It could be the exact same shot for shot, same dialogue. It could be just a live action carbon copy, and I wouldn't care.
Oh, it would be awesome.
Yeah.
So it's funny, John Gill, you mentioned that this is the first time you noticed my tattoo because my tick tattoo right here. This is the tick from the animated version of the tick.
The tick.
But my favorite tattoos I can't really show you very well because they're on the back of my legs. But since we're talking about Guinea Tartakovsky and his contribution to Star Wars, on the back of one leg, I have Samurai Jack holding a sword. On the back of the other leg, I have the Scotsman from Samurai Jack holding his sword. So that when I'm standing with my legs together, they are in fact standing back to back.
Oh, that's cool.
Which is right from the cartoon, was the two of them standing back to back when they were going to fight all those robots. So, yeah. And it's beautiful work this guy did. But unfortunately, I can't really show that to you. Anyway, I wanted to make this arm a sleeve, like just a nerdy sleeve. I had this great idea, like how, like one thing I was thinking, like the first thing you do is like wrap the entire arm with Mr. Fantastic, and then put the other stuff like weaving in and out of Mr. Fantastic. I thought that would be a really cool idea for a sleeve. I don't know. Anyway, I think it's stupid, I guess.
No, that sounds like a good idea. I get a little bummed by that. I actually just reached out to the guy. It was over 3 years ago. His name's Schwab. He's a very, very talented tattoo artist. And we were working together on a custom piece that he's completely drawing from scratch that would cover, be complete coverage on my left leg, right below my knee to right above my foot. And it was, and hopefully someday we'll still do it, because I hit him up and he was like, oh yeah, man, I would still love to do it. Just, COVID happened and all this other crap. And I don't get out as much anymore because of my car situation. But it was Spider-Man fighting the Sinister Six. Okay. And I have he showed me, I've got the pictures that he drew. He drew them all separate. And it looks awesome. I hope I get it, but that would be my nerdy, because it'd be too much. I needed the real estate on the leg, because I was thinking about doing it on this arm, but I've got this tattoo here and I don't really want to cover it up because this is a family thing. And and this one is like my goth horror. Like, I already have the rest of this one mapped out, but the tattoo artist moved to Colorado. And I'm really picky about
Colonel's tattoos are stupidly expensive, which is part of the reason that I haven't gotten in any more, as many as I'd like to. So I just can't afford it.
If you're not paying at least $100 an hour, like I'm not letting you. If I'm not paying you at least $100 an hour, you're not touching my body. Like, I want it; it's there forever. It needs to live.
Oh, you can pay me over $100 an hour.
No. When I shave, what I mean is you got to be that talented. When I shave my arm, this thing looks like it's laser printed on. Like, the guy did great work.
I'll draw a picture of you for $100 an hour.
Yeah,
10 hour minimum.
I wouldn't let you, buddy. I wouldn't let you. And this half sleeve here,
stick figures.
This half sleeve took like four different sessions. And the last one, it was funny because the very last one, when he kind of connected it all together and just kind of went over stuff that hit, because when I first started, the only thing I had was just this skull, none of the flowers or anything behind it. The very first piece was just this skull. And then we went, so I couldn't even tell you how much I paid for this one. I could probably do the math and figure it out, but I was paying him $100 an hour. And
I just wondered if people in Japan and China and stuff get tattoos of American English words on their lower backs that make, like, it says like "I am cheese" or something, and they think it's like some deep meaningful thing.
Probably not.
Yeah, I don't have any words on me, so there's that.
Yeah. Well, the closest thing I have is right here. I have the number 23 in Hebrew. Oh, and by the way, you can see the most politically incorrect cartoon character of all time right here.
Pepe Le Pew?
Pepe Le Pew.
Yes. But here's the cool thing. On my wife's, just above her wrist, she has Penelope running in terror.
Huh.
So that when we're holding hands, it's Pepe Le Pew is chasing her.
Ha!
Nice.
So, but yeah, that's something my wife and I like. What we did for a few years was every year on our anniversary, we'd just go get a tattoo together, and so we get some kind of matching.
That's cool.
Tattoo, and like the Pepe Le Pew and Penelope one, I really like. We both have this tattoo. We both have this tattoo. We both have the number 23 tattoo. So we got almost everything on this arm. We both have. In fact, I think everything on this arm we both have. The only difference is I have Pepe and she has Penelope as far as the skunks. Anyway, let's get back to the show. People really want to hear about that.
Right, I can't go too long over.
Ink Masters, the web series. So, and by the way, so this is the first time I think, in this series that we've seen adult Ahsoka fight with two sabers, which is weird.
No, she did. She did already before.
You're Cyloning, but
When
yes,
did
no,
she
she
fight
did
with-
in the in like the it was early on, but she did. I mean,
Yeah.
I remember seeing it.
But for some reason, she's been favoring just a single saber technique, and which
Well,
is
I mean,
so
it's probably
not
hard for the
Ahsoka.
the actress. No, I know, yeah, like because every picture I've ever seen, she even holds them like backwards, right? You know,
Yeah,
doesn't she hold
yeah.
them
Ahsoka
like-
has a very distinct fighting style, and so and I get that it might be difficult for the actress and the stunt people to do Ahsoka's fighting style, but you're not paid millions of dollars because it's easy. I'm sorry. I'm not going to feel bad for you at this point. Look,
No, I feel you.
not to diss Rosario Dawson because I love her.
But you got to
but
understand, like
it's
when you animate something, you can achieve things that are completely unrealistic, and that just
right.
may not
And if
translate.
Rosario can't do it, then she shouldn't take the part.
Okay.
You don't think
Expectations have
that's
been
fair?
stated.
Look,
No, I just
if
said that's
they
fair.
were if they were looking for someone to replace Tom Cruise for the next Mission Impossible movie, I'm not going to audition, and neither is Bird of Prey 5, right? Because we can't run like Tom Cruise.
Well,
Yeah.
let's remember, no one can run like Tom Cruise.
That's and you're sideloning real bad again. You keep touching the butt or something. What are you
Probably.
doing?
But
No, stop it. Jeez, Canadians can't focus today.
Nope.
So she, while he disarms her, but then she manages to get his lightsaber and put it to his face. And right here is where I thought immediately, okay, they're the avatars of the Force here. That's the whole point of this. He's trying to get her to basically be the dark side, to turn to the dark side, which is something the brother was trying to do in the original encounter with this brother and sister that are the avatars of the Force. So
Yeah.
I think that's
But where things come apart for me, though, and this is why the lack of explanation is really frustrating, is she sinks into the water here,
right.
and then she's floating under the water, and then they rescue her.
Uh-huh.
So how did she get into the world?
Yeah,
between
that's what
worlds?
there's no explanation. It's like the Wizard of Oz. There's just no explanation to how she gets there.
Yeah. So did
Yeah.
did Force Ghost Anakin pull her in? Like, what's going on? Like something. Yeah, like this is what I mean by this show.
Or does every time a Jedi, and that's why I made the Futurama joke at the beginning of the
Oh
live
yeah, I've got
stream.
another life. Yeah.
Yeah, because it makes no sense. Because every time a Jedi loses, like, did Obi-Wan Kenobi go here and then lose a fight with somebody? Because he didn't get an extra life. Maybe that's why Qui-Gon is the only person to ever die from impaling, is because he went here and then lost his fight.
Maybe.
I don't get it.
Yeah, it's definitely there's a lot of breakage. It's very frustrating.
And imagine how frustrating it is to someone like
For
me
you.
who doesn't even have all the context that you guys have. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Right.
Yeah.
It's But
So,
up until
yeah,
this point, it looked pretty. It was
Yeah.
it's nice.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it looks awesome, and I've really enjoyed it. I just, but unfortunately, yeah. As soon as she's like, okay, I choose life, he's like, okay, Snip, see you later, and then all of a sudden she
I
sinks.
like how he's gotten a lot better. Hayden Christensen has at acting.
Well, it's not that he's gotten better; it's that he worked for the crappiest director in the history of mankind.
Well, I mean, you do something long enough, you're bound to get better at it. But I like how his facial expression, where he goes from, he's evil, and then right there at the end, he's like, all right, Snips, and he just like completely changed his,
Well, but I'm
demeanor. It
just
was
saying,
really
like,
good.
if you look at Hayden Christensen from even back then, he was an Academy Award-winning actor. He was good. But George Lucas is a crap director.
Yep.
See, if I didn't know you guys, and I was watching this on my own, what Stan is saying right here is probably what I would have thought. Like this was all
that's
fever
what
dream.
I would think. I would think, okay, so it's just a hallucination, and you were there, and you were there, and you were there, anti-M. It makes no sense for it to be anything other, because there's no evidence that she could. In fact, in the only way I would have believed that she really was there is if she didn't have her lightsabers right now. But her lightsabers come back.
Yeah.
What is the origin
her
of
nickname
this?
is
Snips. Snips is her nickname from Clone Wars.
Is it just like a pet name Anakin has for it?
Anakin started calling her that right away as soon as
because she's so snippy, because she always had a criticism about everything.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's what it's for. Snips.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she called him Sky Guy all the time.
Which I was kind of disappointed she never called him Sky Guy.
Yeah, I wish, yeah.
And hey, John, Rosario Dawson is gorgeous, but that's not the problem. The problem is that there are some serious plot holes here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's, I'm not.
Is her species like can they breathe underwater? Can they hold their breath really long? Or did all this happen?
Maybe those weird things on her head are air sacs,
You're right. Yeah.
And because we know that she's going for a space Jonah and the whale ride, we're probably not going to get anything close to an explanation in this entire season at this point.
Right.
I would be surprised if we do.
Unless they go back to the world between worlds.
Sure. Yeah.
But which is
Watch them just not even explain it at all, just for just
to be a jerk.
Yeah, if you want to know what's going on, go watch the show. Go watch the cartoon.
So then she gets rescued by a couple of extras.
Yeah.
And and then we get a nice shot of the ghost bringing him back. And notice as she comes out of the ship, my joke was, now she is Ahsoka the White.
Well, there was a lot of talk about that being a whole thematic push with this. So also, as a side note, this is the first time, except for when she was a baby in one of those Star Wars shorts, this is the first time we have ever seen her without jewelry on her head. And actually,
that's okay. Yeah.
Very first time that's ever been
weird.
seen. If it was ever shown in the cartoon, I have no recollection of it. But this is the first time we've ever seen like that.
So so Ahsoka the White emerges and says, "I have returned at the turn of the tide." And what would have been great is if Ian McKellen was playing her now. Like, put Ian McKellen in orange makeup. He could be Ahsoka for the rest of the series. Man, that is weird to think that
they could have just ended the episode right here, as far as I'm concerned. It would have been the same length as the previous two. It would have been a good episode.
Yeah,
because
we're at about 31 minutes right now, so that would have been good.
We're about to jump the shark here in a minute. So
no, we're gonna jump the space whales.
Yeah. Or you know what I mean? Yeah.
There's jumping.
Yeah. So she decides to use the Force, and this is another thing that I'm not a big fan of. Is like whenever they're like, "Oh no, what do we do?" I know. We'll use the Force. I seriously, if I didn't do the whole thing with the Fry joke, what I was going to do is have this scene here and then cut to Han Solo going, "That's not how the Force works."
Yes.
That
would have been good. Yeah.
Um, because all of a sudden she now knows exactly what's what's going on. And
what's the explanation? She said that Sabine
that,
left an imprint on it or something.
yeah,
She was,
so basically, even though, and the thing is, like, I might buy that if Sabine were force sensitive.
Well, I actually don't disagree with the choice of doing this in the scene, because there's enough precedent both in the live action and in the cartoons that powerful enough Jedi can use the Force to see both the past and the future.
John, it's not just
Do
people
all
from
people
Tennessee. It's people
from
that understand how
Tennessee
the English language works. There's a fucking H in it. That's
Oh,
why
as far as white, I just,
Yeah.
you know what? I generally, I know most people say white, not white, but
Will
you know, that's my understanding is white is the proper way to pronounce it. But you know, but as
I
far as
say-
Wales, I do say Wales, not Wales.
Wales.
I generally say Wales.
Wales here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I say whale.
I
also
suppose
say
whale.
wolf, so
Yeah, you say wolf is a wolf, and so wolf says the wolf. All right, so
excuse me.
but yeah, so for her to pick up psychic imprints on Sabine, or like if Sabine had shown some inkling of force sensitivity.
no.
You
But
know.
did you hear what I said though? Did you hear
What?
what I was saying
What that
about
you,
all of the stuff I said about the Jedi can see the past and the future?
yeah, but then she didn't need to hold a magic object to do that. She could have
Maybe
just
that was
sat
what
down
she
and
needed
meditated.
Maybe that's all she just needed, that one little piece to focus her or something. I don't know. Either way,
Then you know what? Wouldn't Sabine's helmet be a better thing to focus on?
maybe.
If it's just
Either
to
way,
focus Ahsoka.
Well, no, because the helmet wasn't there.
Wasn't
That-
nearby. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
but
know,
I'm just
that's one of
saying if
those
it's
that
Yeah.
you know what okay, so here's the criticism you could level at this. The scene in general is fine. The choice to have her hold half of the cut ball was treating the audience like idiots.
Yeah. And by the way, why is the ball cleaved perfectly in half when he rammed a lightsaber through it? Shouldn't there be a lightsaber-sized hole in the middle?
Yeah, I wasn't. Yeah, that kind of annoyed me a little bit. It's a bit of a nitpick, but it's definitely because they keep the
didn't look like it
camera
was
on
burned.
No, because they keep the camera on it as much as they did. It's a bit of a bit more valid of a nitpick than the average nitpick.
Yeah, it should have looked like it was completely melted in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um.
Whatever. Like I said.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
once
she
we
uses
got out of the
the
world between
force.
worlds place. It's like,
So she holds her synthetic orange slice and uses the force to figure out that Sabine has run off with Balin, and then the space whales show up. Yay! And then they find out they're still in trouble with the Senate. Oh
Yeah,
no!
I was gonna say, and then we go on board the Ghost to find out how dumb the New Republic really is.
Yeah. And that's why I'm saying, like, because these New Republic ships are badass looking ships. And so I'm thinking they're the dreadnoughts. That's the only thing that makes sense. Because notice that there only seems to be 3 of them, but they're building a bunch more.
Maybe. I mean,
And if you were going to have a fleet of ships to overpower the Republic, wouldn't you want the newest, most badass ships there were? And
see, I can totally tell now that this is made by the same thing as the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, it's a Corellian ship.
Yeah, the thing on the side. Yeah.
And look, now you can get a good look at. You can see if you look carefully up in the top. Now, can you see the other ship there? So how it just launches off from there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which, you know, even if they never use it for the series, they have to have it there because it's always been a part of that ship. You know, so Um,
I still don't understand the whole whale thing. Like they can fly in atmosphere, they can
In space,
fly
Yeah,
and
that-
survive in
atmosphere.
the
space.
whales,
They can.
no, look, I know Star Wars plays fast and loose with physics as it is, but this is just, basically at this point, I'm just like, I'm done.
Right.
Wait,
Well,
Yeah.
Okay,
I
so-
must be on LSD at this point. Wake
so
me up.
let's just remember that Star Wars loves its megafauna. And let's also not forget that the precedent with regards to insanely large critters that can live in space was set in Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
Yes, but that thing wasn't swimming in an atmosphere hovering above the ground.
It had to have gotten to the asteroid somehow.
It wasn't swimming in an atmosphere hovering above the ground. Maybe they're
don't know.
indigenous to that asteroid. It's just a giant worm.
Whales are the worst. No thanks, Satan. What does that do?
So
Anyway.
let's see. I'm looking for this.
So yeah, so
And
she
so
goes
she
out.
starts talking to the whale.
Yeah.
Okay, so right here, this is what you said was the worst CG in the history of Star Wars. Right here.
Nah, I disagree.
That.
Come on, that's a little harsh. Yeah, no.
Really? And hey, Eddie Tiger's here, my favorite tiger, whose name isn't Tony, on a cereal box. Explain how Superman can fly, Salty. Actually, if you look at the old comics, Chief, Superman can't fly. He jumps. But
Leap tall
unfortunately, they
buildings in a
changed
single
the
bound.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And then they made him fly.
Yeah, they made him fly later on because you know why? And you know why? Actually, this fun fact for those of you that actually care about this. Fun fact: the reason that Superman flies is not from the comic books. It was from the Superman animated series, the Fleischer animated shorts, the original Superman animated shows, because they thought that watching Superman jump from building to building would look stupid, so they just decided to make him fly. It was a decision for the cartoon that they then took into the comics. It was not a decision made in the comics. So, bam, there's your truth bomb for the day. And Darren Wagner, if you're here, back me up on that, because I know you probably know that as even better than I do.
He wants you to get to the whale mouth. He's saying saying it's not this
but
shot.
I'm
that's the
already
worst.
there
It's
now
the
too.
inside of
and I'm
the
looking at
mouth.
it on my
What
system, and
what
it
part
looks
of the
fine.
whale mouth? We're in the whale freaking mouth.
No,
Not yet, when
she
they
hasn't
fly
gone
in it.
But even on
I mean,
the
other
inside
than-
side.
So here,
It still looks.
I mean,
anywhere
yeah, I
still
don't-
looks fine. I don't
looks
understand what
fine.
the problem is. I don't know. People are being nitpicky because they.
I
wanna
mean, don't
hate
get
the
me
show
wrong.
more than
I
they need
think
to.
I think the space whales are stupid as F. Okay, let me make that clear. I hate the space whales as a concept. All right, but is this the worst CG job ever in Star Wars? No.
Tell me again about your hate of whales.
Miso no like whales.
I don't like
I'm gonna talk about bad
whales.
CG.
They're big and fat. And they get their blubber everywhere. And yes, Star Trek had Tin Man, but Tin Man didn't like just hover in an atmosphere like these whales do. What
Well,
these
I'll tell you
whales are
what.
doing right now makes no freaking sense.
Anything
magic.
that can go to hyperspace, I'm not going to question whether or not it can or can't fly in atmosphere or something.
Of course, you're not going to question it. You're Canadian. Canadians are used to not questioning things because they live in a monarchy with a
I don't
parliamentary
really-
system.
I don't hate whales.
Well, is this true? Tentacle
You don't
Tentacle
even
saying
elect
space whales
your
fly because
leader.
they're full of the force.
I know.
Is this true? Are they full
What's
of the
that?
Force?
Space
Yes,
whales.
these
Tentacle
things
tentacles
are, well,
is-
these things are very much in tune with the Force. Yes.
Yeah, they're super duper tuned in.
All right.
And
then.
so that's why Ezra could communicate with them. But Ezra could communicate with him on a whole other level.
Yeah, he's super animal sensitive in general.
He cling to your shuttle bay when you killed their mother. Yeah, see what jerks. And the funny thing is, so these whales have baleen. That's what you call that type of teeth in the front of these whales.
Yeah, that comb,
much like sperm whale or humpback whales on Earth. And so that would indicate that they filter. First of all, they're carnivorous, and that they would filter small, small creatures. Probably since they fly, probably like flocks of birds. Like they're just flying around, swallowing whole flocks of birds. Could you imagine? You're sitting there. Oh, what a beautiful day. Oh, look at those birds. Oh my God.
Man, John is just hating the whales.
Well, I'm with
I mean,
him on
it's
that.
my least favorite part of the episode. So let's move it along. I got
the
maybe
broom thingies that are the teeth of the whales. They're called
12
baleen. And they are pretty accurately done.
baleen that. Let's move on.
All right. So
honestly, there's nothing freaking wrong with that. Get over it.
Yeah. Man, you must be lagging way behind, Mike.
Sorry. Well,
because Danny's responses and mine are tight, but you're just I don't know. It's really weird tonight.
Well, sorry. Suck my whale. But now look at the space whales next to this New Republic ship.
Mm-hmm.
Except
that
for
ship
when
is
Big
huge.
Daddy.
Because remember, these space whales tore the crap out of Star Destroyers.
Some of them did, the big giant ones, because there's a lot of different sizes, and there's only so many of the absolutely monstrous ones.
Okay, so this is the biggest
size of
one.
Big Daddy, yeah, he comes by and he's the size.
Right,
of that
Big
whole
Daddy's
ship.
a little bigger than the ship, but he's not that like in comparison to a Star Destroyer. These ships are big. I'm just saying. I think
that big whale's bigger than all of them.
Probably, yeah. But that's because he's heading off to the Milky Way galaxy to turn into the whale probe.
Alrighty.
No, he probably is. But yeah, so space whales, I genuinely thought was stupid, and then the space whales warp off with their space super hyperdrive. The end.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. So I went first. So now, Danny, you get to go first.
Oh, alrighty. Had they ended the episode like just a little bit earlier, like when I mentioned, I would give this a better score, because it would have been, my favorite episode. The best I can give this is a 7. I would have given it an 8 had it just ended before the whale crap or whatever. You know what I mean? Because I really enjoyed everything with Anakin. I really liked seeing a young Ahsoka. I liked the live action Clone Wars stuff. All of that was really cool.
Right.
And then they jumped the shark. So I'm giving it a 7.
7 out of 10 for you. All right, Jason.
Well, I liked half of this really, really, really a lot, and the other half I was annoyed by. And then even the part that was really, really good, even for people who have all the homework done, we're left flapping around in the wind. So,
Right.
critically speaking, I'm going to give it a 6.
Okay.
Because after what we just had before, you can do better because you did do a lot better. So, come on, show. Smarten up.
Well, and like I said at the beginning, you know, this was a great Darth Vader episode. Unfortunately, this great Darth Vader episode was ruined by an absolute crap Space Whales episode. And you know, because this was probably the single best Star Wars episode about Darth Vader that there's ever been. But you know, then they had to go and take a big massive dump all over it. And I'm so torn on this because part of me wants to give it like a 5, but
Oh wow.
but the Darth Vader stuff was really good.
Yeah.
And so if I just watch the Darth Vader stuff, I want to give it like an 8.5, maybe even a 9.
Yeah. No,
I say you can't go to a 5 or less if there's ever a desire to turn the episode back on at all.
Right. And see, that's where I'm torn because it's like, well, I would want to put the episode on, but I wouldn't watch the whole thing. I will never watch this entire episode.
Yeah.
There is a great explanation for it. And I remember I had to watch this episode a lot more than you guys did because, and not to pat my own back, but I put a lot of work into that music video today because I really, really liked the lightsaber fighting and I wanted to, you know, do something a little extra with the music. And so it was a longer song than usual and a more up-tempo thing. And so I had a lot more edits to do, but I thought it was worth it. I thought that it looked really cool. And I loved that stuff. If that's what this whole show was, I would say, wow, Star Wars is better than ever. But it's not what this whole show was because half of this show was about space whales and communing with the seas. And, you know, while the communing with the seas, I think will have important things later on to do with getting into the world between worlds. I think the space whales is just a cheap way for them to get to the other galaxy. And honestly, I thought
this was called
Shadow Warrior.
Called Shadow Warrior, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you put Fallen Warrior in the thing. Yeah.
No,
Shadow
it was
Warrior.
Fallen Jedi was last week.
No, in the title of the broadcast, you put Fallen Warrior by accident.
Oh, did I? Oops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't mean to. Well, that's probably why.
I'm fixing it on mine. So
yeah. Well, you know, you could have told me 2 hours.
Just noticed
and 13 minutes ago.
I never even noticed.
I literally just noticed it because I forgot to update my description, so I'm doing that right now. My bad.
Well, thanks. May make me even grumpier. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, I would want to give it like you know, like an 8.5 to a 9 just for the Darth Vader stuff. But on the flip side, if it was just the last 20 minutes stuff, like with the space whales, I'd probably give it like, if not an FU, maybe a 2 or 3. It was just grating to me. So I'm so torn on this one. So I'm going to do it the way that, you know, trying to think of a good, logical, analytical way to do this. And I think I finally figured it out. And that is simple. I'm going to do the math. Since about 2/3 of the episode was in the world between worlds, and only about 1/3 of the episode was the space whales crap, I will figure that, okay, if I was going to give it a 3 out of 10 for 1/3 of the episode and a 9 out of 10 for 2/3 of the episode, what would that average out to be?
I don't feel like mathing that hard without the help of
I don't either.
spreadsheet.
That's why
So-
Yeah,
I
but
gave it
I
7.
suck at math.
So 2 out of
So-
3 and 1 out of 3. And what did you say you wanted to give the good part?
The good part, I would give a 9 out of 10.
And then what was the bad part?
I said a 3 out of 10.
Okay.
But the good part is weighed for 2/3
Yeah.
compared to 1/3 for the bad.
You have to give it a 7.
All right, so 7 it is.
All right. So our cumulative score is 6.5.
Yeah.
I believe, right?
Yeah,
Something like that.
6, 7, and 7.
That's the only so that's the only way to be fair. I'm just trying to figure out a way to do it. Because man, that last section was so painful to watch.
Yeah,
And
it dragged. It just, the pacing is just all wrong in this episode.
So I speaking of things that dragged, this review.
You don't have to talk about the
dragged
size
a
of
little.
my what now?
What? Hey, before we say goodbye, aren't you proud of me for getting you tomorrow's thumbnail like 2 days ago?
Yeah, if only you had not fallen asleep and when you promised you would get me the Ahsoka thumbnail.
I didn't even get to watch. I was supposed to do that Witches of Eastwick, the inaugural episode of May Divorce Be With You.
Yeah, I was looking for it. What happened to it?
I fell asleep. I didn't even get to. Stacy was pissed. I mean, she's actually. I think we're going to try to do it. I'll let you know, because if we do it Saturday, it'll mess up our Saturday thing. But
we do need to watch episode 3 of the animated series.
Oh, we will. And I think I'm going to change the time of my wrestling show. It's just with football season and all this stuff, and it's just So.
Oh, you mean real sports? Sports where the outcome isn't determined. Well,
do you really want to go down that road?
Yeah, right.
Really
I don't know. I don't follow football. I don't give a. Look,
anyway, speaking of wrestling, I am not watching Dynamite, which came on about 19 minutes ago, because AEW sucks now. Which is,
but I hear the same.
I'm just trying to ramble on so you can do that
hypodermic
thing you like to do, where you just like cut me off in the middle.
I'm not going to cut you off.
I thought maybe
Why do you always think I'm going to cut you off?
Okay. Well, because you always do, and